days a week. From Gullick and Wingo to the Sports Drive with Chad Brillante. Plus talk football with Coach K at noon, Sports Call every Saturday. If you'd like to partner with us as an advertiser or a promotional partner, just give us a call at 262-6000.
You're listening to ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM, 99.1 FM. All sports, all the time. WEBY, Milton, Pensacola.
The following has been produced by Talk Football LLC. Former Florida Gators quarterback, NFL quarterback, and NFL head coach. Coach K. Stevenson has a resume second to none, and now he's sharing his insider information with you. Talk Football with Coach K starts right now on ESPN Pensacola.
Welcome in to Talk Football with Coach K. JP here with you alongside former NFL head coach K. Stevenson on this Friday afternoon. Appreciate you joining us on the show on this July 4th weekend coming up here. Hopefully the weather will stave off a little bit, but nonetheless, look, we have a ton to talk about today, and as we always start out the show, we will continue to start out the show this way. Look, we want to thank our first responders and healthcare workers. And we say it this time, but always. I think it goes without saying what they do each and every day, putting their self on the front lines. We are so grateful for them. And having, like I said, friends and family, I say it each and every day. But getting the reports of the support they get from the community is awesome. But they enjoy their job. They love going, doing what they do, trying to get people back to normal. And that's something that, normal is not a word we may use for a very long time. I think we'll have a new normal when this is all said and done. But the things that they do that we don't even realize behind the scenes, keeping us safe and protecting us, being there in our ultimate time of need. You don't need a first responder unless there's an emergency. Just think about that and how important that is. We thank them so much. We thank our nurses and all our healthcare workers, doctors, everybody out there for what they've been doing during this time. They have absolutely been rocking it. All of our hospitals and physicians and everything have been doing such a great job. And just want to let them know that we appreciate that. And then listen, if you see one of them out and about, don't shake their hand, obviously, but let them know that you care and tell them thank you. It goes a long way. A kind word in today's society goes a very long way. Just ask anybody. And look, with that being said, I want to thank our grocery store employees, truck drivers, all the essential workers out there. Look, I know it's tough for some people having to close back down, maybe their restaurants or bars and things downtown. Things are tough for a lot of people right now. If you can support local people, definitely do it. But our grocery store employees, look, they've been there the entire time. When you go, have a little more patience as you go about. Follow the protocols that are in place. Wear a mask, people. We know that Governor Robinson has done, or Mayor Robinson, has done a good job with implementing the mask. And if you disagree with it, listen, it's not just about you. It's about all of us getting back to normal and all this. And if we can stop the spread any way possible, a mask is such a minor inconvenience. I'm not trying to get into politics or anything like that. I am saying just for the welfare of people. Just think about other people as well. Truck drivers, by the way, I've talked to a few of them, actually see them at the gas station sometimes and listen to the show, and that's awesome to hear that. As you know, all the traveling they do, radio is a lot of their life, but we appreciate them so much. We think about everything that they deliver day in and day out. We couldn't do it without them. So they're the unsung heroes in all this. And, Coach, I know we have a lot to talk about today, and we have a special guest joining the show, and Coach Pete Shinnick coming up at 12:15 from our national championship UWF Argos football team. It never gets old. But how are you doing today, my friend?
I'm doing well. Couldn't agree with you more on not only the thanks each day to those people that so richly deserve it, but also whatever we can do to at least halt the spread of this virus for the time being. Hopefully we'll have a vaccine and further treatment here shortly. But and in the meantime, there are many people that life depends on it. So for crying out loud, if you're going to be in a group of people where around a group of people at a grocery store or any type business or whatever, wear a mask. That should have nothing to do with anything political. If it does, you're going down the wrong path.
Yeah, I agree. And, Coach, we've talked about that, and we've talked about that off the air as well. Look, it's just such a little gesture like that can go such a long way in being able to curb the spread. And now we can't control what other people do outside of our community, but our community has been so great in this time. Now the cases are going up a little bit more, but we're testing more, and there's a lot more, that's involved with that. I understand that, but a mask, just throw it on, just not just for you, do it for other people as well. We love our community so much. But, Coach, we have a ton to get to today in such a short period of time. I want to jump right into this. Now, this is interesting enough. Now, we have heard this being talked about in years past, the Washington Redskins. Now, they're under pressure as they never have before now Nike has pulled their products off of their website. Personally, I don't know how that goes from a contract perspective that the Redskins have with Nike. We know Nike makes their uniforms. There's a lot that goes into this. FedEx, of course, came out yesterday, and they own the naming rights, obviously, to the stadium there, and they said that they wanted the Redskins to review a team name change. Now, Coach, we've been down this road before. Daniel Snyder has come out and said before that he will never change it. Now he has come out and said that they are going to do a thorough review of a team name change. Now, Coach, understanding it, and you know Daniel Snyder as well as a lot of us do, but you may know him a little bit better, obviously. But, Coach, what do we make of this whole thing? I mean, this has been a topic in years past. Now, with everything else changing, with all the movements and everything going on, it's back up again. Coach, a couple questions here. Once again, what do you make of this, and do you truly believe Daniel Snyder would change the team name after he's made comments before of, I will never change the team name?
Well, unfortunately, and I've said this many times before, and this is just totally unfortunate is the best word to see this happening in our country. Hey, if you've never read Saul Alinsky's Rules for Radicals and How to Create a Socialist Nation, read them. And you'll see exactly what's going on right now in this country. I'm telling you, it's not good. But to have to change the name of a team, I don't know. I don't know what that. I can't justify in any way what that means. I mean, if you, what are we going to do about the Cleveland Indians and the Florida State Seminoles and the Notre Dame Fighting Irish, for crying out loud? A number of us, I guess, with any Irish heritage should take offense at that, but not going to, that, and I don't get it, to be honest with you. I think it's a shame. The name has been there for a long time, but it's like anything else. It's a part of what I was talking about earlier is to challenge and eventually eliminate a lot of the culture and the heritage, and revisionist history is a big, big play. So anyway, I'm getting a little over out of the sports realm here, and I apologize for that. But I think this gets so heavily involved in what we're talking about in the sports realm that needs to be said.
Yeah, it's interesting to say the very least, but I don't know what to make of it, Coach, to be honest with you. But you know what? Let's go to our phone lines real quick. 850-623-1330 is the number. Caller, who's this?
This is Mike in Pensacola.
Hey, Mike, how you doing?
I'm doing all right. Hey, listen, I get it that name is history and all that, but dude, that's a history of racism, man. Like, you're calling someone the Redskins. To call someone the Indians or the Seminoles, that's a tribe name or a name, the general name of Native American people. Redskin in itself is inherently racist, and you're alienating a huge number of Native Americans, people that were here before we colonized this land. So to say that, it's a shame and it's a elite socialism, that's just a fallacy. And I'm sorry. I've always respected everyone on the show, but I just disagree vehemently with that point. I think it's something that should have been changed a long time ago. And to compare it to history, and America's history, is to just say, oh, yeah, the Ku Klux Klan is okay because it's American history. And it's not. And I'm just tired of it, and the rhetoric has got to change. Thank you. Have a great day.
All right. Well, and Coach, look, I mean, what any comments on his call here?
No, we listen. We welcome anyone's comments.
Absolutely.
Everybody has a right to their own beliefs. I personally have a problem. I don't see that being. Maybe he's. If his point is true, maybe he's got a point, but I don't see that as being racist. It's no more than you would refer to somebody else because of their skin. I mean, I don't. I just don't see that. But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe to some people it is offensive. I just can't. I personally can't see it. So I comment on what I believe to be the truth.
Yeah, and here's the thing, though. I think goes back to this and my original question being, Daniel Snyder. And Daniel Snyder's been a guy that has gone against the grain. A lot of people have wanted him out for some time. But you know what? A lot of people are asking, is he going to sell the team because of this? I don't think so, because I think this is a team that's worth $4 billion. And I think what it really truly comes down to for him, I don't think he's going to change just because he's already beat his chest out this entire time regardless. So how a lot of people are
we'll see. We'll see on that. And you should never use never.
Yeah.
And never's a long time, and things could change. And it may have reached a point where he feels he has to. I don't know. I don't know that. I wouldn't comment on it. I think that's going to be an interesting development, whatever happens there.
Yeah, I think every single day this is like with what's going on right now in our country. Look, I've said before, and I will continue to say it, I'm all about unity. The Redskin name does not affect my life, my day-to-day life. So for me, it's tough to, I'll voice my opinion on things, but I don't know. I have friends that are Porch Creek and have asked them about things similar to this before, and they don't have a problem with it. Now, that's not the case for everybody. I understand that. Everybody has their own viewpoints. So for me, it's tough. I'm hesitant on saying yay or nay on it just because, you know what, to each their own. Like you said, Coach, we respect everybody's opinion on here. We don't have to agree with you. You don't have to agree with us. And so that's the gracious thing is we're not going to shy away from stuff like that because that's the glory in sports. That's what I love so much about sports, and that's why we try not to bring politics in it because people take it a little too personal. But for sports, I say the Arizona Cardinals are going to win the Super Bowl. You say the Houston Texans are going to win the Super Bowl, and we talk about it. We don't have to agree with each other, but we respect each other's opinions and appreciate the call right there. But look, we got to go to a quick break, Coach. And look, the reason we're going to a quick break, well, our UWF National Championship football coach, Pete Shinnick, is coming on the show with us. Always a delight to hear him, to see what's going on with their offseason. We'll talk a little bit about the upcoming season and, well, what they're going through right now to prepare for the season as well. All that and more coming back right here on Talk Football with Coach K on ESPN Pensacola.
I'm attorney Stephen Luongo with Levin, Papantonio, Thomas, Mitchell, Rafferty, and Proctor in Pensacola, Florida. Distracted driving is a dangerous epidemic on America's roadways. In 2016 alone, over 3,000 people were killed in motor vehicle crashes involving distracted drivers. This according to the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration. For more information, please visit us today online at levinlaw.com. Please be safe on the roadways. Stop the text, stop the wrecks.
When you're looking for a great deal on a reliable new or certified pre-owned vehicle, you can't beat Bob Tyler Toyota in Car City, Pensacola. Bob Tyler Toyota has the best selection in town at incredible low prices. You can check out their amazing inventory from Camrys to Tundra trucks to 4Runners. It's all at Bob Tyler Toyota, and you can find it online at bobtylertoyota.com. Also score a touchdown this football season with the car of your dreams. Again, it's only at Bob Tyler Toyota in Car City, Pensacola.
Hello, sports fans. Miles Bentley here, General Manager at Hill Kelly Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram in Pensacola. Growing up, I always loved sports. Nothing but net, out of the park, through the uprights. Sink the puck Bentley, that was me. But my love of the game couldn't beat my love for Pensacola and helping folks get on the road of dreams in a new Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram. Sure, I never went to the big leagues in sport, but we're all pro here at Hill Kelly Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram. Proud to be in Pensacola.
Sometimes your bank, your family, and your friends love you, but they don't have the money to help you. Sometimes we have chances to make money, but the old saying, you've got to have money to make money, rings true. At Pensacola Specialty Pond, we can help. If you have trucks, heavy equipment, airplanes, boats, jet skis, anything with value, Pensacola Specialty Pond can loan you that short-term money you need. No credit checks, and at Pensacola Specialty Pond, you're going to find the money and the discretion you need.
Now at 6428 Pensacola Boulevard, north of Car City. Call 432-9050, 432-9050.
I'm Troy Rafferty, and many of you know about my love for sports and my longtime support for our local high school athletes. One thing these fine young people have taught me over the years is this: whether it's on the ball field, in the classroom, or in a court of law, always work your hardest and achieve the best results possible. And that is the commitment we make to our clients and our community.
Levin Papantonio in Pensacola since 1955.
It's hurricane season. Escambia County Emergency Management has 3 things you need to know. Know your zone. Do you live in a hurricane evacuation zone? Go to BeReadyEscambia.com, find your zone, and what to do if it's evacuated. Know your home. Is it prepared for a hurricane? With COVID-19, the safest place may be at home instead of a shelter. Know your plan. Where to stay if you're evacuated. Confirm plans now with family or friends before the storm. For more information, go to BeReadyEscambia.com.
You can watch Coach K talk football live right now on our YouTube channel at ESPN Pensacola 1330.
Welcome back to Talk Football with Coach K. JP here with you alongside former NFL head coach Kay Stevenson on this Friday afternoon. Hope you're doing well leading up to the July 4th. If you're off from work and, well, if you're listening to us, we appreciate it. Listen, we got a lot to get to today, and right now we have an extremely special guest. Always fun to talk to Coach Shinnick, Pete Shinnick right here of our national champion UWF Argos football team, and that just never gets old. With all the accolades he's collected in his short time here in Pensacola, of course, most recently named Gulf South Conference Coach of the Decade. And in case you didn't know, the Gulf South Conference is, well, the toughest conference in Division II football with the likes of, obviously, Valdosta State, West Alabama, West Georgia, just to name a few. But Coach K, listen, I know that he is a tremendous friend of yours, a tremendous friend of, well, our community as well. But I'm going to go ahead and send it over your way.
Well, we appreciate very much, Coach, you taking the time to get on with us. I know you got a lot going on. You always do in coaching. But thanks very much for taking the time to come on with us. And congratulations on what an honor, deserved honor. Coach of the Decade. You certainly deserve that and more, and we're proud of you.
Well, thank you, Coach. Thank you, JP. Appreciate you having me on. Yeah, very humbled for that award, and really feel like that award needs to go to a lot of people. I think the city of Pensacola and all that they've done for us, our university, all the support, our administration, president, athletic director, what they've done, and obviously I've had great coaches and players. So blessed to receive that. Was not even thinking about it. So very unique, humbling honor right there.
Well, listen, I want to get some update issues with your football team, but I've got to get to a bigger issue right now and get your opinion. Of course, I'm sure on the inside with a number of people and keeping up with it on a day-to-day basis. Coach, what do you see the chances are of having a normal football, that's a terrible word to use in this day and time, but having a complete football season the way you have it scheduled right now, dates and times and so on. What does it look like right now?
Yeah, and I think you used, the word normal. I don't know what normal will be moving forward for 2020. I think you're going to see adjustments, whether that's crowd size, whether that's, what happens in preparation for a game, what leads to that. I've tried to have, Coach, just a lot of conversations with coaches across the country at different levels. And I think everyone, that I talk to sees that there's an avenue to do it. There's just, obviously, we've got to get through this, time that we're in right now. We have more and more cases that are popping up, more and more cases that are popping up in the 20 to 40 range. I just kind of look at the stats and kind of see what's taking place, and I think you see some trends of more positives, but then you see some trends, I think, with hospitalizations and others that aren't matching up with the number of positive tests. So as we have discussed it kind of as coaches and just continuing that conversation, I think it's still early to decide what is going to happen. And I think everyone is doing everything they can to say, all right, we're going to have a season. We're going to have a season. I really feel like we get into August, I think there'll be a little more clarity. But I felt like there'd be more clarity at this point in time, obviously in June as well. So I think the safety and well-being of our student athletes is number one on everybody's list. And now it's how do we proceed from there? And, what needs to take place? We're getting ready to have some volunteer workouts starting in a couple of weeks. And I think when that happens, we'll be able to kind of see firsthand some of the protocols, some of the measures that need to take place. You've seen high school teams working out, and you've seen some positives here and there, but you've also seen a lot of success with what they're doing and how they're handling it. And so it really is. And I've been doing this a long time, Coach. You've been around the game, longer than I have. I've never really seen this type of situation where it literally is day by day and almost, okay, what's the news at noon? And then did we have any new news at 5? You're waiting to see what the latest update and how we're going to proceed.
Well, that's for sure. And the safety of each and every person involved, not only the student athletes, but also you've got coaches and you have ancillary staff members that have to be involved in many, many respects. So having said that, there are numerous scenarios. I'm sure you, like the NFL, keeping in touch with some of the NFL people. They've looked at every possibility, even I knew back a month and a half ago that probably that the preseason would be at least reduced drastically and possibly no preseason. And you know how coaches are. Coaches are going to complain about it, and there's rightfully so. There's a reason, and certainly the young kids are going to have a problem. It's not going to be in their favor to cut down on preseason because you got to make those decisions based on action, and so that's going to be tough. But it could be to the point that they say to each and every football team, look, we got to get to the regular season. That's when, and keep in mind now, that's when the money starts, TV money and you name it. But there will be no preseason, and you're going to have 2.5 weeks to get ready, and we go play. Now, coaches will be ready to dive off skyscraper when that happens, but they better get ready for it because it could certainly happen. And they've looked at every scenario, coach, from no people in the stands to 10 of the people in the stands to a quarter to a third to half stands, and then once you get beyond that, you might as well open all the stands because you can't have social distancing with any more than that. But anyway, all those scenarios are being looked at, and there've got to be possibilities for each and every one of them.
I agree, and I think for college, they've talked a lot about the 6-week preparation time, which we're coming up on the middle of July, which was they felt like if at that point in time they could start working guys, you'd still be able to play games in the 1st of September. And the NFL is such, there's such a difference between, like you said, trying to get this free agent or this rookie. I got to get him so many looks, and that was really, that was really what the first 2 games were all about. All right, we've seen this guy practice. Now let's get him in there. Your starters go a series, whatever it is. And the vet was more concerned about, his practice time and his timing during practice. Maybe get 4 series before, the opening game, but, you feel good about what he's capable of doing. For us, every day that we get closer to that start date, which our start date is August 7th, that's when our players report. We want to obviously get them with our strength coach, which we're planning on doing that here in the middle of July, being able to get them around each other and start, building, a little bit of a foundation to lead into fall camp. Because obviously all this stuff typically would start June 1st. Guys are working out on their own, and we've had great reports from our players, what they're doing. But there's nothing like working out with, 50, 60 of your teammates and being pushed, being challenged, being encouraged, and, raising the level of your competitiveness while encouraging your teammates to do the same.
Yeah, there's no doubt about that. I'm sure you've looked at also the number of people you can have in the stands, even playing with no people in the stands. Now, granted, and certainly for larger colleges, this is going to be more difficult than it will be for the National Football League, for pro football. They can have an empty stadium and pipe in sound and put it on television, have it on television, never show the stands, and you wouldn't know whether there was 100,000 people in the stands or nobody there. You'll just see football on television. Not that simple for colleges because of the necessity to make this available for the students in the school. Then you've got certain traditions like bands and other people that are involved in games, and it just it goes on and on and on. And certainly the fan base and those people that are rabid supporters of the college football team, it's going to be very, very difficult for them to take that approach in college football. So it's going to be a little different. It could be that there's an interruption in the college game this year.
Yeah, I mean, you and I had this conversation back when this thing started, and you're dead on. I mean, with the pro game, I think you can get away with it, and I don't know that it changes that atmosphere that much. I mean, but college, it is that atmosphere, and that's what that's really what drives the college game and the college experience. And NFL is going to suffer. There's going to be some tailgating, obviously, that is a big part of the NFL. But from the college game day, man, if you're not at 100% capacity, which it does not look like we're trending that way. It looks like we're trending some form of a percentage of capacity, whatever that is. It does change that experience, and it does alter I think, what's taking place. For us, we've been blessed. We played downtown Blue Wahoo Stadium. We've been a top 25 D2 program in attendance for the 4 years at our existence. I think we've made Wahoo's Park look great with the crowds that we've had there. And really even our tailgating and our pregame stuff have been, off the charts for our level, which is very exciting. We don't know exactly what all that's going to look like, and that's kind of where we're taking every day. What's the new protocol? What's the guidelines that we're falling under? How is this going to affect us? What's it going to do? So, it's a strange time that I've ever been through, and I'm sure you got a worldwide pandemic going on. That's the same for everybody, but it's not like we have an end date yet. It's not like we have a clear-cut focus on what is taking place and how this ends, or can it be done. I'm excited that the NBA is starting back up, fired up in NASCAR's running some races, and I just saw where I think the Memorial is going to have fans. I know the PGA's been playing without fans, but I think I just saw where the Memorial Tournament's going to have fans. So hopefully all that starts opening up these windows of opportunities where by the time we get to September, we got a little clearer picture.
Yeah, well, I couldn't agree with you more. I'm going to move quickly to your situation there. We know that I think you've had a tremendous off season, and to go along with the momentum you have for winning a national championship last year. But you've had some transfers, and you have to feel you got your quarterback coming back. You did a heck of a job last year. Coach, overall, you got to feel pretty good about your football team at this point.
I really do, and as you know, I don't care what level it is. I don't care if it's a Pee Wee league or the NFL. If you've got a good quarterback coming back, other people take note of that. Whether it's a defensive player or obviously the skill players that we've been able to add, they take note of who your quarterback's going to be. I've said this on a handful of occasions. I think Austin Reed is the best passing quarterback returning in Division II. His 4,000 yards, 40 touchdowns last year, I think is just the beginning of what he's capable of doing. The exciting fact about him, Coach, was, the last 6 games he threw for 2,000 yards and 20 touchdowns. First 9 games he threw for 2,000 yards and 20 touchdowns. The last 6 games he threw almost the exact same numbers. And he really hit his stride. He really found what he was capable of doing. And he did it against 3 defenses ranked in the top 20 in Division II. So we're excited about what he's done. He's had a great summer. I actually saw him yesterday when I was over on campus doing a photo shoot. He happened to be out on the field. And, he looks great. He's excited. He's been working hard. And I'm looking forward to, seeing him and the rest of the guys once we get the opportunity to be back together.
Well, that's wonderful. Wonderful news, and we're all looking forward to it. You've given this community an awful lot to be excited about. Let me ask you one other quick question. When do you expect to have, given the circumstances, when do you expect to have your people in at this point, Coach?
Yeah, we're gonna start. We're gonna start not next week, but the following week. We're gonna start with the volunteer workouts with our players and our strength staff, and I believe we're gonna have somewhere in the range of 50 to 75 guys, and that'll be some transfers and freshmen that are already here. Being able to work out with our strength staff and our training staff. So we're going to have a good chunk of our team with us, within the next 10 days. and we've already got some transfers that are moving in. We got some returners who are moving back. So probably July 13th, the date that we're looking at getting started and seeing how all this plays out. Give our strength staff a great opportunity to see them in person, gauge what needs to take place before the rest of our team shows up August 7th for our first report date.
Well, we all look forward to it, and sounds great. This is going to be a heck of a football team for you. I would think it's probably the best going into a season. You feel the best going into a season that you probably have up until this point. So.
Yeah, I think, each year, and Coach, you and I have talked about this really from day one, each year our depth, I feel like, has gotten better and better. And really, I think since 2017, in our first time going to the playoffs and making the run that we ran, we felt like our depth has been really good. And obviously 18 was not the season that we wanted, but we played 6 guys at quarterback. So I don't know anybody that's ever had a season that they wanted when you play that many people at quarterback. So we feel like we've built great depth, and we're excited about 2020.
Well, I know you are. Listen, I appreciate your time. Sorry I held you a few minutes over, but we do appreciate it very much, and we look forward to the year, and as always, wish you the very, very best.
Appreciate it, Coach. Thank you, JP. You guys have a great day.
You too, Coach. We appreciate it. That's Coach Shinnick right there of our UWF National Championship winning Argos. Always good to talk to him. We appreciate him so much here in Pensacola. Even if I think he has made people take notice of UWF even more so. Of course, I went to UWF when there was talks of having a football team. It's awesome just to see. And I want to remind people too, and Coach, one thing that we need to say this, because I don't think we look at it and we go, that's great. Obviously, he's the coach of the decade. But they've been doing this for 4 years. I mean, he is the coach of the decade, and he's had this program for 4 years and won a national championship, has taken him to the national championship 2 years. And the one thing that I love with Coach Shinnick, it just shows you, we talk about character all the time, is he always goes, yeah, but you know what, that's not about me. That's about everybody else. And he always talks about the community first as well. And I think that is what makes him so successful, not only on the field, off the field, regardless. Those guys will sell out for him. They'll do anything. And if you went and watched UWF football, it is tons of fun. And, Coach, I just, once again, want to make that very clear. He is the coach of the decade. And remember, we talk about the GSC. To compare it, it's pretty much like the SEC of Division II football. I think that people say, well, the Big Ten's the best conference. I'm not buying that yet. But it's the SEC of Division II. And that's not just in football. That's in every sport. But for 4 years, he's had this program, Coach, and obviously he spent more time with it, but he's already the coach of the decade. I think that is just absolutely phenomenal and something that should just be celebrated on high.
Well, there's no question about that. He's not only a great football coach, but he is an outstanding person. I can tell you that from with all sincerity. He is really a genuinely great person to have in our community or anywhere.
Absolutely.
I know we're going to break, and we'll come back, and we've got quite a bit to try to get in.
Yeah, absolutely, we do, and you're absolutely right with Coach Shinnick as well. Fantastic person. But, Coach, listen, when we come back from break here, we're going to talk a little bit about Larry Scott, the Pac-12 commissioner, and his comments on the upcoming season. USC tells their students that they will not be on campus this calendar year. Interesting to see how that's going to affect football. And we'll talk a little bit about the NFL and what's going on over there as well. Well, all that and more is coming back right here on Talk Football with Coach K on ESPN Pensacola.
I'm attorney Stephen Luongo with Levin, Papantonio, Thomas, Mitchell, Rafferty, and Proctor in Pensacola, Florida. Distracted driving is a dangerous epidemic on America's roadways. In 2016 alone, over 3,000 people were killed in motor vehicle crashes involving distracted drivers. This according to the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration. For more information, please visit us today online at levinlaw.com. Please be safe on the roadways. Stop the text, stop the wrecks.
When you're looking for a great deal on a reliable new or certified pre-owned vehicle, you can't beat Bob Tyler Toyota in Car City, Pensacola. Bob Tyler Toyota has the best selection in town at incredible low prices. You can check out their amazing inventory from Camrys to Tundra trucks to 4Runners. It's all at Bob Tyler Toyota, and you can find it online at bobtylertoyota.com. Also score a touchdown this football season with the car of your dreams. Again, it's only at Bob Tyler Toyota in Car City, Pensacola.
Hello, sports fans. Miles Bentley here, General Manager at Hill Kelly Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram in Pensacola. Growing up, I always loved sports. Nothing but net, out of the park, through the uprights. Sink the puck, Bentley. That was me. But my love of the game couldn't beat my love for Pensacola and helping folks get on the road of dreams in a new Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram. Sure, I never went to the big leagues in sport, but we're all pro here at Hill Kelly Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram. Proud to be in Pensacola.
I'm Troy Rafferty, and many of you know about my love for sports and my longtime support for our local high school athletes. One thing these fine young people have taught me over the years is this: whether it's on the ball field, in the classroom, or in a court of law, always work your hardest and achieve the best results possible. And that is the commitment we make to our clients and our community.
Levin Papantonio in Pensacola since 1955.
JP here. At ESPN Pensacola, we are hometown proud. Like the greatest pound-for-pound boxer of all time, Roy Jones Jr.
Three-time light heavyweight world champion and former heavyweight champion of the world, future Hall of Fame legend, Roy Jones Jr.
What up? This is your boy Roy Jones Jr. and you're listening to ESPN Pensacola.
JP here. Everyone here at ESPN Pensacola wants to send a shout out to our first responders and healthcare workers at this time. We know it's tough, but we appreciate the work you put day in and day out. We also want to thank our essential workers out there for helping all of us continue to live our lives as normal as possible in this time. For our community, keep rocking it. We are going to get through this. Remember, we were named the #1 strong town in America. That wasn't by accident. We have seen so many people step up and do their part, and we thank all those people for their efforts. We will be stronger for this, and together, we will beat COVID-19.
Hey, this is Chad Brillante from the Afternoon Sports Drive, and you're listening to Talk Football with Coach K on ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM, 99.1 FM.
Back to Talk Football with Coach K. JP here with you alongside former NFL head coach Kay Stevenson. On this Friday afternoon, weekend right around the corner, July 4th weekend at that. We do know the fireworks have been canceled. The Blues, of course, we got news yesterday. The Blues show next week is canceled, the following week has been canceled. Regardless, we're going to stay positive here moving forward. As a community, we've done a great job during this time. Once again, just continuing to wash your hands, social distance, whatever you got to do. We're going to get through this. Things are going to get better. I want to make that very clear. We've talked about that before, Coach. Everything is going to be all right. It's just going to take a little time here. So anything we can do to help stop the spread and help other people in this time, let's go for it. But listen, I know we got tons to talk about in a short period of time here. Awesome interview, by the way. We appreciate Coach Shinnick coming on, talking with us again. But look, Larry Scott, Coach, the Pac-12 commissioner, of course, saying obvious things here. Unless we see a change in the trajectory of the spread of the virus and its impact pretty quickly, I think the situation's a lot more perilous than it was a few weeks ago. We haven't heard from him in, I feel like, months, Coach. Like, he's coming out of the woodworks now, out of nowhere, when everybody's kind of wondered what's going on. With that being said, I think that's obvious. Obviously, if things don't get better, it's going to be tough. But nonetheless, USC tells its students most classes will be online. That is making a lot of people a little fearful on the upcoming season because, look, they've talked about if they don't have classes in person, then there won't be any sports. And that's interesting because we know how prominent USC is. USC, it's interesting because the university it is, and now they are private. But, Coach, with the USC telling its students most classes will be online, is that kind of a foreboding for the football season, or is this more, once again, like everything else, and wait and see?
I think what we can say at this point is that Scott has a most difficult job being commissioner of the Pac-12 with all those blue states out there. I mean, you're talking about governors and mayors and other people that are involved, and they would just as soon they not play. And certainly I've heard it said earlier this year that if there are no students on campus, there will be no football from that same area. And I think we were talking about, the governor was talking about the state of California. You know that earlier in the year, we got word through, actually through Paul Feinbaum, that Alabama opens the season, supposed to open the season with Southern Cal in Jerry World there in Dallas on a big opening national television game. And TCU also is supposed to open in Berkeley that same weekend against the University of California. Well, with the possibility that both the California teams won't be able to play, they have at least talked about the possibility of keeping the game on with Alabama playing TCU there in Dallas. So it's hard for me to answer the question. I'm giving you a little background on things that have already been said and done. I think it's going to be most difficult to handle that situation out in the Pac-12 with what they're going to have to face. Now, I think in other areas of the country, I think you're going to see a more even-handed approach, and maybe you don't need every student on campus. Maybe having some on campus, or maybe even having the virtual classes. I don't know. I'm not privy to that information, but it doesn't look the best in the world for the Pac-12 right now.
Yeah, I think that's a for sure thing. And, Oregon is supposed to open up, and I love my Ducks, Coach, but Oregon's supposed to open up with Ohio State and hosting that game. So there's a lot of things that are involved here. And you're right. In the Pac-12, it's a little bit different than what's going on in other places. But with USC saying that, now USC, remember, like we said, is a private school. This is, once again, I think Coach Shinnick talked about it. We've talked about it. This is a day-by-day process, literally a day-by-day. And Coach Shinnick mentioned you get your news at 12, and then you have to turn back to the news at 5 and wonder, okay, what changed? Like, what's happened? Because that's just literally how fast this thing is changing. So with cases going up in some places, cases are, of course, going down in others. We'll see, because this is going to be quite the roller coaster ride each and every day. As what we talk about here, Coach, is a lot different than what we talk about on the sports drive from 5 to 7. So that's just how quick. And I think we have to understand that. And one thing that I will make clear is, look, everybody that wants answers now, you're not going to get answers now. And I think it would be very irresponsible to make an answer now about certain things, because we've seen this virus in a matter of a week or two shoot down and then it shoot back up. So it just, once again, we go back to, please just wear a mask and do your part in all this. Just think about other people. Like I said, this is something that's going to affect our lives from here on out, but regardless, we want some college football. We know that, but we also want the health and safety of everyone involved in all this. But I will say this, Coach, before I move over to the NFL side of things real quick. Lafayette College has canceled its September 12th football game at Navy as a result of, obviously, the coronavirus. They are going to be reporting back a little too late. Now, we've already seen some other teams, and they play in the Patriot League. We've already seen some teams cancel. I believe a team was going to play Western Michigan, and they're not going to play. So this is nothing new, just making that known out there for some people. Navy is obviously going to try to replace the game, but this is kind of the new norm for some of these other teams. These smaller colleges, they're doing things a little bit different. So you know what? We'll see what happens with that. Coach, jumping over to this real quick. Look, NFL Chief Medical Officer says the protocols will change and evolve during the season. It's a little bit about what we've been talking about for quite some time now. He wants people to understand that they have, obviously, protocols in place, but once they get there and get guys there, the things that will change. Guys will test positive. We're not stupid to say nobody is going to test positive on this, but things are going to change. It's going to be a day-by-day process, and they are going to adapt. And that's how this is going to work, because like a lot like what Adam Silver said with the NBA, we are going to be living with this virus for the foreseeable future. And it's something that people just have to understand. But one thing I will say with this, Coach, is now that has come out, is NFL players could be fined if they break these protocols with dealing with coronavirus right now. Meaning, obviously, we talk about the bubble with the NBA and they have to stay inside the bubble or they could be penalized. Basically the same type of thing here, that these players are going to have a duty when they leave, because we can't watch them. We've seen this with high school or college athletes right now. LSU had 30 players test positive. They linked it back to a bar. Obviously, they probably regret that decision now. But with the NFL, it's going to be a similar style thing. Coach, when you look at this, NFL players may be fined for breaking coronavirus-related protocols. Isn't that just a safe move to try to keep everybody on the same page?
Well, I think it obviously is, JP, but, I wonder, my first thought is, I wonder how they're going to track these people as they're in their own time, in and out of different cities. How they're going to be able to track everything, I don't know. I mean, you're sure they're going to have some guys that wander off to either a theater to go to a movie or to a bar or a restaurant or something where they could expose themselves. So I don't know how they're going to do it, but I do think they're wise to try to put something in place to get adherence to certain basic rules that everybody should be aware of.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's going to be a nightmare. We talk about colleges, and colleges have done their best. You talk about Ohio State and SMU and other schools, getting them to sign a waiver, basically letting them understand, listen, this is the protocols we have. This is what you have to do as well. It's up to you when your time is off. If you do end up going out somewhere, you need to do this, you need to do that. And I think it's going to be the same, obviously, with the NFL, except these are grown men, too, which you talk about how tough it is for 18 to 22-year-old kids. These are grown men that have families and all this other stuff. How do you track this? This is going to be – I do not envy anybody in a sports position right now trying to figure out what they're going to do. Like we just talked to Coach Shinnick. I do not envy him right now. I love the job he's done, and it's awesome. Up until all this stuff happened, because trying to jump through all these hoops and figure out day by day, and it's tough enough when you literally things are changing every 30 minutes. So this is going to be interesting. I think for the NFL, though, it's trying to save the league here, trying to get people to understand, because for some people they still don't take this virus seriously, and you know what? It's a shame, because this virus is real, it's here, and although it may not typically kill people that are younger, it doesn't matter. Every life is precious. We need to understand that. But we'll get into that a little bit later on. But Coach, we got to go to break here. When we come back, I do want to talk about, look, we're going to break down a couple of the contenders, playoff contenders or wild card teams we may see in the playoff this year. Who's for real and who's not. We want to start with the ACC. A little bit interesting, as we know Clemson's on top, but who could be that team that could, dethrone them? Maybe not this year, but in the upcoming years. We'll talk about all that and more right here on Talk Football with Coach K on ESPN Pensacola.
I'm attorney Stephen Luongo with Levin, Papantonio, Thomas, Mitchell, Rafferty, and Proctor in Pensacola, Florida. Distracted driving is a dangerous epidemic on America's roadways. In 2016 alone, over 3,000 people were killed in motor vehicle crashes involving distracted drivers. This according to the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration. For more information, please visit us today online at levinlaw.com. Please be safe on the roadways. Stop the text, stop the wrecks.
When you're looking for a great deal on a reliable new or certified pre-owned vehicle, you can't beat Bob Tyler Toyota in Car City, Pensacola. Bob Tyler Toyota has the best selection in town at incredible low prices. You can check out their amazing inventory from Camrys to Tundra trucks to 4Runners. It's all at Bob Tyler Toyota, and you can find it online at bobtylertoyota.com. Also score a touchdown this football season with the car of your dreams. Again, it's only at Bob Tyler Toyota in Car City, Pensacola.
There's only one place in town for the lowest prices and greatest selection of firearms. Pensacola Indoor Shooting Range. Visit our fully stocked Gun Pro Shop for new and used firearms, accessories, and ammunition. Check out the Indoor Shooting Range. We offer rentals on guns, including fully automatic machine guns and silencers. Ladies, this is the safe place to learn how to use a gun. Plus, Tuesday is Ladies' Day. Women shoot for half price all day. The best place to buy firearms in Pensacola. Pensacola Indoor Shooting Range, Highway 29 in Car City.
I'm Troy Rafferty, and many of you know about my love for sports and my longtime support for our local high school athletes. One thing these fine young people have taught me over the years is this: whether it's on the ball field, in the classroom, or in a court of law, always work your hardest and achieve the best results possible. And that is the commitment we make to our clients and our community.
Levin Papantonio in Pensacola since 1955.
The teams, the games, the fans, the local talk. This is ESPN Pensacola 1330 AM, 99.1 FM.
Welcome back to Talk Football with Coach K. JP here with you alongside former NFL head coach Kay Stevenson on this Friday afternoon leading into our July 4th weekend. If you're off from work and listening to us, we appreciate it. If you're at work, we appreciate it. Regardless, we're here trying to talk some football with you. Look, Coach, get into this. Now, interesting enough, we talk about the upcoming college football season, and look, like we said, we're going to act like it's going to happen. We believe it will. It'll be a lot different than what we've ever seen in our entire life, but you know what? Regardless, at this point, it seems football is football. But, Coach, I want to start with some contenders, some wild card teams going into this season. We obviously know some of the big-time teams. We talk about the top three right now. For the majority of people, obviously, would be Clemson, Ohio State, Alabama. We think Alabama, obviously, after the season they had last year, going to jump right back into this. And they had a good season, but they had a ton of injuries. But Tua's gone. We think they're going to be just fine. We'll talk about them later on next week. But, Coach, I want to jump into the ACC here. Now, Clemson is obviously a national title favorite. It's a no-brainer with what they've been able to do with what they have coming back. You look at Trevor Lawrence, Travis Etienne, all those guys. I mean, if anything, the only place they look to may not have a ton of depth is at the wide receiver position, but they've got five-star recruits that are going to fill in as well. But, Coach, when you look at this, it's not as much about Clemson. Don't need to spend a whole lot of time on them. Another playoff contender, we look at teams now. North Carolina, we talked about them, and they're on the rise right now with Mac Brown. Coach, you could even go to Louisville, and what a good year Louisville had last year, starting to work their way back. Miami is a team that a lot of people are talking about, but I'm not going to buy into it until I see what happens this year with them. We've heard that Miami was going to be the team, and it just hasn't worked out for them. But, Coach, when you look at the ACC, regardless of division here, obviously for Clemson, they're in the same division with Louisville. We talk about Florida State, but we think Florida State's going to have a couple years before they get back on top here. Can anybody challenge Clemson in the ACC right now, or are they just a dead runaway?
I think this year in particular, Clemson is a huge, huge favorite to win the ACC. In fact, they got to be the odds-on favorite right now to win the national championship. They have an outstanding football team. They've got a once-in-a-generation quarterback, and they have a great schedule to go with it. I don't know how you can beat that. That has an awful lot of momentum, a tremendous amount of momentum. And they've built a lot of tradition there at Clemson as well. So I got to say they got the inside track on the national championship right now, pretty strong. I like in the ACC, I'll tell you what, I like what Florida State has done. I like what they've done since they made the coaching change down there. They've really, you have to admit, they've done a good job. They're going to have, it depends on how deep they are right now. I don't know how deep they are. They're going to have good talent. And they're going to have a new way of doing things. And there's a lot of excitement. There'll be a lot of excitement around that program. So you got to put them in there as being a possible spoiler. And then North Carolina, the two would be, I think North Carolina 1 and Florida State 2 as being the strongest challengers in the ACC. Just unbelievable job that Mac Brown has done up there at North Carolina. They've got some momentum from last year. They've had a great recruiting year. They've built some depth now, and they're obviously being coached very, very well by Mac Brown and his staff. So that's where I would go.
Yeah, I would agree with you, Coach. I think Mac Brown, and it's going to be interesting to see what he can do there because we know the recruiting class he's having coming in next year. Obviously, they're top 3 right now, moving up in the list. It's going to be really interesting. Now, remember, for people last year, North Carolina almost upset Clemson as they lost 21-20 there in a thriller in Chapel Hill. But look, I respect the heck out of what Mac Brown's doing. It's good to see him back on track after seeing how things ended at Texas. But this is a team that, you know what, they're going to have to win the Coastal, survive a brutal non-conference schedule as well. But right now, I would agree with you. I think Clemson is the no-doubt favorite there. But, Coach, that sound means it's time for us to go. As always, we didn't get to everything, but you know what? We're going to give it our best shot come after the weekend. Coach, it's been an absolute pleasure.
You bet. We enjoyed it, and we will have a great weekend for everybody out there. And we'll see you again on Monday.
Absolutely, Coach. You have a great weekend as well. And for all those, we appreciate you tuning into the show. Hope you have a fantastic July 4th weekend. Regardless of the weather, spend some more time with the family. Everybody have a great, safe weekend. We'll be back on Monday talking some football with you right here on Talk Football with Coach K on ESPN Pensacola.
Went outside the lines. That was fun, too. I'm out here, though. Happy to be with you on a Friday. The show is presented by Progressive Insurance. And, of course, all guests on the program appear via the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line. You want to tweet me? Take your chances. At Clinton Yates, of course, give me a phone call, 1-888-SAY-ESPN, 1-888-729-3776. Right now, it's time for Straight Talk, brought to you by Straight Talk Wireless. All right, y'all. For those of you just tuning in, I'm Clinton Yates. I'm from D.C. I'm a big-time sports fan. I used to be in a family that had season tickets to Washington's football team. I have been to many a football game to cheer them on. I, however, also don't use that word. And in the last 3 days, we've seen a lot of changes on that front. First of all, we saw FedEx, the sponsor of the stadium, publicly say that they've asked the team to discuss this name. That's money, y'all. That's real money. That's not a poll in a newspaper. That's not a protest of people standing outside a stadium. That's nothing like that. That's real dollars, which is what talks to the NFL. Secondarily, we saw Nike apparently pull down all of the apparel from the team for sale from their site. An even bigger money situation, which is borderline amazing. Now, I'm not going to say that this necessarily means this is happening tomorrow. Some people believe that, and we'll get to that in a second. But I'm telling you, as somebody that has lived, cared, and reported on this matter for the better part of a decade plus, dog, this feels different. It feels like something that finally has some teeth because people are just looking around saying, yeah, no, we can't have this. Come on, y'all. What are we looking at here? Really? That name? That's what we're doing in 2020? Seriously? 1-888-SAY-ESPN, 1-888-729-3776. Here's Stephen A., who has some breaking news this morning about what could happen with this name, and soon.
I got information from a very, very reliable source. Daniel Snyder will change the name of the Washington Redskins. It is going to happen.
Wow, any timeline on that?
It's going to happen. How soon? I do not have a timeline on that, but as I predicted, it would be before the season. It will be before the season. I'm told from a very reliable source, the name of the Washington Redskins will be changed.
That's
fantastic. Huge and amazing news.
Yeah, I don't think anybody's surprised on that. That is shocking that it happened so quickly, but times are changing. It's a lot of pressure on everybody, and now the next step is we got to figure out what the name is going to be. So